All right. Good morning, everyone. Brad Roltgen here with the Fresno Bitcoin and Cryptocurrency Investors Group. Today is January 11th, 2025, and it's actually, I was reading earlier, the anniversary of the first day of trading of the Bitcoin ETFs last year. So I might talk about that a little bit. The bad news on the meeting is our guest couldn't make it. I was a little bummed, and he didn't make it before to one meeting, but when he told me that he was on his way to LA to help his sister who had lost her house in one of the fires and was helping to evacuate his brother, I'm like, by all means, family always comes first. So hopefully we can get him back again in the future. Um, so it kind of opens up to talk about whatever we want to talk about. I do want to cover a couple things and some news just because, news is always interesting, at least for a few days until some other news comes out. I'm planning on doing, we'll talk about crypto taxes and stuff on in March, but I thought if there's anything that anybody had started looking into or ran across that was, different or a change from last year, that's something we could maybe bring up just to put in people's minds that, hey, this is different or this tool doesn't work anymore, or, those kinds of things. Have you guys started dipping your toe into looking at tax stuff? Yeah.
I haven't because I hold everything.
Good answer. Good answer. And yeah, Steve, that's another thing you don't have to worry about. If you don't sell it, you don't have to report it. So, oh, the other thing is I'm kind of getting over something. So if I may go into a coughing fit, and I'll try to mute out to save you guys from that extra noise. Okay. Anybody else on the tax front? I know I started kind of pulling, just doing various things, but just to get started because I like to get it done and over with. It doesn't always work, but I like to try to get started anyway.
So they
Uh,
have until the end of January, right, to issue the 1099 DA?
correct, correct. Yeah, yeah. So we'll see if they're getting better. And then I saw something. Some of us were working on that thing to with the safe harbor. I sent that email out on, but it looks like now they pushed that back for a year. Um, and who knows what'll happen then with the more crypto friendly folks in DC here starting in 10 days. Okay, so going back, let me share this my screen here. Dun, 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 dun. Back to back to the Bitcoin ETF. I was looking at this article on Cointelegraph. Uh, a surge far above expectations as far as what they did. And they said in less than a year, the contributions to the ETF has been 100% of the 44.2 billion in inflows to the crypto investment products globally. So obviously that made a difference. Let's see. Yeah, they estimated 14 billion and they got 44 billion. So that's pretty good. Most Bit or BlackRock has most of them. I think they said at 58% of the Bitcoin ETFs are with BlackRock, so that probably doesn't surprise any of us. Dun, 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 dun. What's next? Yeah, this was the one. They said that the professional investors still are prohibited from doing uh, the Bitcoin ETFs, which I don't follow, all these things that closely, but that surprised me that, they couldn't start using them. I don't know what the rules are, but they said that's going to change in 2025. So I'm sure that's going to add to even more inflows as far as that goes.
Well, Brad,
Um,
one of the things they're talking about is there's a lot of investment advisors, and investment advisors have been held back from bringing people into these different ETFs. I believe Morgan Stanley, which has somewhere around 14,000 in November, I believe that they were allowed to start talking to their investors, their customers about it. And so I would expect the ETFs in 2025 to new money to exceed over $100 billion.
Yeah. So double what was last year, which
At
yeah.
least double that.
Yeah.
Because, the one thing that's been talked about, I don't know if many people have listened to much about this, but there's going to be somewhere in the neighborhoods of, I don't know, 15 to 30 trillion dollars in money that's going to be transferred over the next 10 years from people like my parents to me, and um, which has happened recently. And so there's going to be trillions and trillions of dollars that's going to go from older hands to younger hands, for lack of a uh, for lack of a better way of putting it. And that money will, a lot of that will find its way into these ETFs.
Yeah. And so that basically that's like the boomers to the Gen X type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Excellent point. Um, yeah. So here's yeah, BlackRock's always on top of these things. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. And I didn't read this one, but the headline caught my eyes. The right MicroStrategy, issuing debt and buying Bitcoin. It's like it works until it doesn't kind of thing, but so far he's doing okay with that. So I'm gonna try to look at that one later. Um, and this one too, I didn't read. Let's see. Uh, Everything goes up, followed by a bigger consolidation. Yeah, there's so many of these crap projects that they just got to go away and hopefully like remove them from uh coin market cap. I mean, now they talk about number of cryptos. There's 2.6, 2.4 million. I mean, I remember when that number was like 2,000 kind of thing. And then hit 20,000. I'm like, oh, dang. But I mean, we've just lost control now because, what are these projects? 95% of them last a week or two, kind of thing. So it would be nice that if they, well, I don't, I guess the cryptos don't go away. So who knows what, but I mean, to try to go through 2.4 million projects or tokens, that's crazy.
Can I add to that, Brad?
Please.
What? Yeah, what's happening in the crypto space is we have two things since Bitcoin came out in 2008. First of all, we don't have regulations. That's one of the drawbacks. And the politicians know that because they haven't put a bill through. So all the big investors, the whales, the institutions, they're really holding off. They're waiting online until that ribbon gets cut off so they dump all the money. Well, it can't happen because there's no regulation. Once regulation kicks in, then you start to see all the whales dumping their trillions of dollars into the ETFs, into all these funds, into SEC, and you start to see a growth in the crypto space. So that's what's one thing that's holding everybody back is two things: crypto regulation and crypto digitalization. If that's not going to happen, it's going to continue on lingering.
So do you think the ETFs were not a big enough step in that direction to make a
Well,
difference? Or-
they could be bigger, but the big whales, the big institutions, they're not going to invest $1 billion if there's no regulation. Because, for example, like here in California, uh, the what is that called? The hedge funds, right?
Mhm.
Okay, they can't dump all that money because if you put all that money in there and then regulation kicks in and say, "Hey, this is against the law," well, if you and I are an investor, we're going to want our money back, and then we're going to say, "Hey, what happened? How come you guys invested in this when you guys knew there was no regulation?"
Okay.
Does
To
that
me,
make sense?
it does, but it seems like that would have been necessary or that would have happened before these ETFs came out, you know, or maybe are you talking more just direct holding the coins?
Well,
Like if CalPERS was, going to have a cold wallet and a bunch of Bitcoin in there like MicroStrategies is doing.
yeah, but we're not really seeing a big explosion until we really see regulation. Well, it was supposed to happen this year, right? Regulation kick in, but I haven't heard anything. They
Y-
haven't signed the bill.
Yeah, and there's different definitions of, of regulation too. And yeah.
There
Um,
are there are a couple things to consider. First of all, Gary Gensler, who has been basically a hawk on Bitcoin, he's gone. He's going to be gone. And Trump is going to put somebody in there who's definitely pro Bitcoin. They already mentioned his name. I don't remember it off the top of my head. You have a lot of people who are in the administration who are pro crypto, and a lot of them are specifically pro Bitcoin. So I think, in terms of regulation, all those Bitcoin ETFs are under some level of regulation. There's no doubt about it. Every ETF has certain regulations and basically guidelines that they have to go by. It isn't a free for all. So I the point is well made, and has been more of an issue in the past up until now. But I think that tide is turning, and um, I think there's more regulation underneath there than there used to be a few years ago. Certainly, when I got started about 7.5 years ago, which isn't even that long considering um, how long has this been out now? 16 years,
yeah,
2009,
we're coming up in
15 years,
16. Right, right.
15 years. So I think that the regulation issue is not complete, but it's certainly much farther along than it has been in the past. And like I said, the ETFs are definitely under regulation. Um, so that is good and comforting for people, like you said, like hedge funds. Their very nature is to go against the grain to some degree, and
Right.
so there's two other parts that two other things I'd like to quickly mention, and that is that I read a story the other day that people were talking about BlackRock um, trying to hold Bitcoin down a little bit so more of their people can get into it. And it's like, who hasn't told that story since it was around $2,000, right? Oh, they're trying to hold it down so more people can get in. And then just look at the chart, look from left to right, and think about anywhere along the line you could have jumped in and you'd be here where we are today. So I don't understand that concept. And the other thing I forgot. So there you go.
Okay. So Gabe, on as far as the whales, are you are you thinking more individual whales, like, guys like you and me with four more zeros in our bank accounts?
No,
Or
no,
like
because
like you said, the hedge funds, the CalPERS,
the
and
big
those.
hedge funds, they have
Okay.
big hedge funds because they have to be complicit with the laws of the SEC. If
Right.
there's no laws in crypto, right? If
Right.
there's no laws in crypto and regulations, they're not going to go in there and put in their billions of dollars, or else we as investors, if they go in there against the grain, as Mike was saying, well, we're going to go ahead and sue them, right? Because they lost our money because there was no
It's
regulations.
going to cause a problem. So have they been
Exactly.
able to go into the ETFs, or are they part of the basket that they referred to then in that article talking about the
Yeah,
professional investors?
the part well, people are going in there, they're just testing the waters. Just like when we went into crypto, we didn't put in 1,000 or $20 million. We just tested the waters, and that's what the beginning phases is until we have regulation, and then you're going to start seeing big whales dumping in, going in, and doing much as they can to help the investors grow their funds. But if we don't have no regulations, it's not really going to happen. All they're doing is just testing the waters.
Yeah. In your mind, what does that regulation look like?
We're just waiting for what is the definition of crypto. They still don't understand that
That's a great
until
point.
we have until you have the
Yeah.
laws in crypto saying what is DeFi, what is crypto. Because I tell you, we're being played like a fiddle because Gensler worked at MIT as a professor. He definitely knows what crypto is, but they told him, hey, you have to hold back. We can't let you go on the scene until everything gets played out, until everything gets placed. because remember, it's been going on since 2008 when Bitcoin came out. Now, don't you think the government was well aware of it after 2, 3, 4 years? Would have put regulation in place? No, they're just letting it play out.
Yeah, and potentially wanted to see, how it played out and that kind of thing, just, in a quote unquote free market type of thing. And so
Exactly.
I think for the most part, I mean, you're always going to have crooks and, people trying to scam you, every way from Sunday. But I think up to this point, the free markets work pretty well. So I don't, I don't like the word regulation. It seems like there's so much regulation, in other aspects of our lives that I'm just like, this is not one where I want it. I mean, obviously I want it to be, quote unquote safe, but I don't know what exactly that means.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. We do have to have regulation. As you noticed, you mentioned there's 2.4, let's just say 2.5 million cryptos out there. There's a lot of them, 80% of them that are garbage. We all know that, right? Now, when regulation kicks in, everybody that's holding a bag of crypto, we all have to make sure that that crypto confines within the regulation of SEC or the company of crypto. If they do not, guess what? Your crypto's gone because they can't comply with the regulations. I mean, that's going to be a lot of crypto and a lot of people holding crypto that don't fit the regulations
Yeah.
criteria.
But is that going to be regulations for the United States or for the
Uh,
world?
No, this is just for the United States. We're
Okay.
talking the SEC. Yeah.
Right, right. And that's where it gets interesting because we've had these, things come out where SEC, whoever said, you got to do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And we've had like Bitcoin.com, that exchange, I'm sorry, Binance.com said, well, we're not going to do that. US customers are excluded from using our trading platform. We're going to launch a new little piddly one, for the US. And so you still have all that going on outside of the US. And, some people have tried to use, those things that we weren't supposed to use, that kind of thing. Um, and so that's what, to me, that's where it gets interesting because if they can only regulate within our country, well, we're just a fraction of the world. And crypto is, a worldwide thing.
Yeah, because they're doing it over in Europe right now, particularly England. Uh, Look at the case of Tether. They had last week. They had I think 3 days. I'm sorry, USDT. Yeah, Tether. Uh, the exchanges are no longer using Tether because United Kingdom banned them. So, and then here in the United States, it's the same thing. Some majority of the exchanges you're talking about, Kraken and Coinbase, they're not using Tether.
Well, they still are as of, last night when I looked at my account, they may be moving away or wanting to have something to replace it. And we had the Ripple Labs stable coin come out, the
I,
RLUSD.
yeah, I don't think Coinbase is using Tether because I believe when I logged in there last month,
They were never
it's,
big on it. They were always big on USDC. That
yeah,
one.
that's what I'm using,
Yeah.
USDC.
Let me see. Has anybody else, have you seen them move away from Tether actually in any accounts that you guys are using?
I think you're right. Coinbase goes with Circle, and
Yeah.
they had supposedly better transparency on the reserves than Tether.
Yeah, and I've always thought that Tether and the EOS and all those other uh was it Bitfinex? The founders have been a little shady, so yeah.
Brad,
Go ahead.
Brad, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little muffled, but go ahead.
Okay. So as Gabe started talking about regulation, I hadn't read anything about it in a couple of days, so I wanted to go see. So I kind of minimized the screen, went and did a Google search, and so there's been a lot of stuff just within the last 3 or 4 days. So Michael had mentioned that Gary Gensler is out at SEC chair. He's going to be replaced, it looks like, by a guy named Paul Adkins. and that guy's very crypto friendly. Just a report 8 hours ago, the United States Senate is going to create a subcommittee on crypto, chaired by one of the senators that's really pro crypto. You guys probably know her. I don't. It's a lady. She's a U.S. senator that's pro crypto. So she's going to chair a subcommittee that's going to look into regulation. And I think that, everything that I'm reading, it looks like we're about a month out. Trump's going to get in a couple of weeks, but realistically, by the time they bring forth the recommendations, it's going to be a month to a month and a half out. They're going to start the regulations. And to me, it looks like that's half of the world. The old school money, they're not playing the game like all the gamblers, right? So they're waiting for the regulation. And then once they see that kind of security, I think you're going to see more of that money. They're going to take crypto more legitimate, like their money can't be stolen. And so, Brad, you made a comment a few minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago, that in your mind, it'd be great if you could kind of eliminate all of the thieves out of crypto and all the bad, the bad little cryptocurrencies that pop up for a week. And I don't disagree. I think those are always going to remain because there's a part of the crypto community that wants that, and I'm fine with that. But I think once the regulation comes in, and I think we got to give the Trump administration, 6 weeks, couple of months, and it'll all work out. And then I think things will be back to the races, off to the races again. But there's a lot on the regulation to answer Gabe's questions just within the last couple of days.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. And Michael, thanks for posting in the chat there. I'm going to copy over to our Google spreadsheet here. Yeah, and those are separate things there.
Yeah, I only read a little bit of that, but there's some very specific stuff in there. It's under this place called Tax Advisor, and so there might be some interesting information in there for us, especially since you had mentioned the tax thing earlier. And yeah, there's a big full plate coming up here in this new administration, and I know this is one of the things that Trump wants to do. I don't know if he'll really be able to establish this crypto. What was it? It was talking about a crypto Bitcoin reserve. He needs to have Congress's that needs to be approved as a law. That cannot just be put into act via
Like executive order.
executive
Yeah.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got them. We've got all three houses right now, or all three branches. So there's a possibility that can happen. Anybody have extra thoughts on that particular element?
Well, I'm amazed how many times I keep seeing this company, this country, whatever, talking about setting up a, Bitcoin in their treasury, type of thing. And that's something we never discussed or talked about, where I thought, okay, this ETF thing is going to push Bitcoin higher. Well, heck, if everybody's setting up a treasury, kind of like, MicroStrategy started, but if Dell has that, Amazon, I guess, was it Microsoft? They voted no on that. Their shareholders, but I think Amazon shareholders voted for it. I mean, if all these companies start holding a little, 1% of their liquid assets in crypto, that could be nuts.
Yeah, North Dakota and New Hampshire, just within the last 24 hours, have submitted legislation for their states to become crypto reserve. So to me, it seems like that that horse has left the barn. There's a race. It's going to be a race. Now, I think we have a lot of crypto friendly lawmakers now in the country. And so once Trump gets seated and the dust settles from all the hoopla, let these folks begin doing their jobs. And everything that I hear is that there's almost a race to see which nation can establish as a Bitcoin reserve first. And I mean, already see it with the states, and quite frankly, even California, I think, is going to get on board with that because so much of the AI and so much of the tech industry is here. So I even think California will get on board.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be enough people pushing there. Ahmed, I didn't see you earlier when we started. How are you doing today? What are your thoughts on any of this? Well, maybe
No, I definitely
oh,
agree. The government investments and treasury, that will spike things up. Um,
yeah, especially if like Steve was saying, the states are jumping in. It might be the kind of thing where there's, 17 states are doing it, and the country's like, well, we better do it too, type of thing. So that'll be interesting to see. Okay, let me see if I had any other news.
I can throw in something else
Well,
since we're
please.
brainstorming.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, if the regulation brings in institutional players, like we've been talking about banks and hedge funds and everything, they they may just as easily go short as they go long. So everything we've been talking about really up to now has been a long position, right? Because most retail traders or retail investors, and certainly by definition reserves, are long the position. But if we start seeing some big short positions in there, that could create a lot more volatility, which would be good for active traders, but not necessarily hodlers.
Yeah, they might get a little bit nervous. And are they doing that through the futures?
No, you can short the ETF, you can short the future, you can buy
Okay.
puts, you can go short many ways.
Okay. I thought it was the futures that were maybe that's where it started a few years back, but okay.
Right.
Um, yeah, no, there's always some interesting times playing the shorts, because nothing ever goes up forever, at least, in a straight line. Okay. Any other news you guys have seen or want to share or question? Steve, anything else there you found? Sounds like you're like the last couple days worth of news you're looking at.
Well, you guys have all beaten me to this game, so I'm still the rookie in the group, and so I'm learning exponentially. So I've just been doing a little bit more research, and I'm all these questions that you guys, all these statements that you've made are really interesting to me, and so I really look forward to this Saturday morning's meeting, and I appreciate being here. But I do think that, I've looked at this pullback in Bitcoin since a month ago when we met as a mild buying opportunity. I'm not going in crazy, but I'm still accumulating a little bit more. And it might dip down a little bit more, and I'm not afraid of that. I'll accumulate a little bit more. But to me, the resistance is there. So the floor is not being pulled out from underneath Bitcoin this time. It doesn't look like to me. But I defer to you guys. I mean, you guys have seen this, but I mean, I see the battle at 93,000, and it's gone below it a couple of times, but it just seems like the resistance is there, and I think we're getting ready to build once the Trump administration comes in, build to the next level of the bull run. But I'd like to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, maybe where do you guys see the next, step up coming from? Is it, after Trump is in, or after a couple of, announcements we hear about what maybe the U.S. Treasury is doing with Bitcoin, or what do you guys think?
In my opinion, I think truly regulations will be kicking in, even though they had so many years to do it, so many pages written, but never went through. Because I noticed back in 22, 23, Biden put an executive order, but nothing, it was in March, nothing really happened. It was just thrown away. Nothing was done. So I truly believe this year we will see regulation kick in.
Can
Okay.
I ask specifically what you mean by regulations? Because there are regulations in place. Like I posted that piece up there about the ETFs. The ETFs have regulations that they must abide by. So there are regulations. But what are you speaking about specifically, Gabe? Are you
Well,
talking about
what
the
yeah, what I'm,
designation or what?
no, what I'm talking regulation written in the law book of SEC. There isn't any. There isn't any.
So, and the regulation would be like you said earlier, defining crypto, whether it's, a
Exactly.
commodity or a security, those
All
kinds of
of it.
things?
Yeah. What is crypto? Because regulation hasn't kicked in for crypto. That's what I'm referring to, talking about. There isn't any regulation in crypto.
Okay.
You can go
Outside of
in
the
there.
ETFs, because obviously,
Exactly.
like Michael, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, like you said, the first step has got to be defining, is it a commodity? Is it a security? How's it going to get taxed? I know Germany, which would, they defined that a couple of years ago, and it was like, okay, good work, guys. At least you did that. So that's how it works in their country, but obviously not doesn't affect the rest of the world. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it has to be written in the books. If it's not written in the books, we don't have it.
Okay. Of the SEC. Okay. And then I guess as part of it then determines if it's the SEC that's going to regulate crypto or the CFTC. I've heard those discussions too.
But
Whether it's a
both.
security, whether it's a commodity.
Yes, because what happened in 2015, of course, Ripple went to court, and the judge ruled it as Ripple as a virtual currency. So if it's a virtual currency, then why are we being taxed on it?
Oh, on the trading, yeah. Um, Good point. Yeah. And could you imagine if there were three different definitions of the coins and they were all
Mhm.
treated differently or set differently for tax purposes, and we traded one to another, like an A coin to a B type of coin and then to a C type. Oh my gosh.
And you can see why Coinbase is suing the SEC because they have no clarity in the laws.
Right. Yeah, how that's been going on for at least a year.
About a year, yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. Okay.
Last piece is from the SEC website.
Oh, there you go. Let me check that out.
Oh,
Oh, you want to bring that up and share that with us, Michael?
I don't know exactly how to share that. Oh, wait a minute, share. Uh, Hang on a second. Let me pull it up over on this particular. Let's see if I can do it now. Uh, there you go. So this is just the Securities and Exchange Commission crypto asset. Well, what it's about. So um, uh, I don't know everything what they do, but at least we can look at this and get an idea as to what the different rules are that are on their actual website, right? What are the things that they're thinking about? But I do agree with Gabe. There are issues with some regulations, but I do believe that there's a lot more regulations going on now than there used to be, simply by the fact that you couldn't have the ETFs if there wasn't. But is it complete? Is it all ready to go? I don't 100% know that, but I just wanted to share this.
I just posted, I still was trying to really listen intently to what Gabe is saying. And I think that the ETFs, any ETF that's accepted in the United States has its own particular set of regulations. So when they say crypto regulation, I don't think they're talking about in that space of the ETF because there's already a pile of regulation on an ETF to be bought and traded in the United States. So what I Google is what um, cryptocurrency regulations are they looking for and what is needed? And that's what I posted right now in the chat. So they need it for anti-fraud, cybersecurity, anti-money laundering, market surveillance, all these things, stablecoin regulation, tax rules. So these are all the areas that we need regulation that will bring a level of security for the regular investor. Like I want to give you guys a real world example.
Steve, real quick, I didn't see the link come up in my chat. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody
you
else
didn't?
got it. Did you send it to like one person or all of us?
No, it says to meeting group chat. Is that correct one?
Yeah. Did
Did it
anybody else see it?
I did.
Oh, okay. I'll try to figure out what's going on. I apologize. Go ahead, Steve.
I want to give you guys a real world example. I mean, fresh. Yesterday, my brother bought Bitcoin for the first time in his life. My brother in Clovis bought Bitcoin for the first time in his life. And his wife was there, and I was working him through it. And she's kind of freaked out. She's freaked out because this is a portion of their money, and she doesn't understand crypto, and she's heard crazy stories. And one of her friends told her that you could lose everything in crypto. So these comments are out in our culture. We need the regulations to give peace of mind to folks that want to invest and see crypto as a reality. And so that my brother, now my brother's not, he's ready to invest, but he's got to deal with this. And so he invested a little bit less than I think that he really wanted to, because he's now, if once they get the regulations, the anti-fraud, the disclosure stuff, all out and about, cybersecurity, can, my sister-in-law, can this be hacked? Can our money be hacked? I mean, to me, I don't think so, but until we get regulations in place that organize that, it's going to keep my brother and sister-in-law from investing as much as they really would. And so I think the regulation's really necessary. Now, I'm looking forward to that, because then I think it brings Joe Citizen into the game, and they're a little bit more comfortable. And we have a lot of people like JP Morgan Chase, they're all saying, hey, you might want to put 2% of your money in crypto. And so that's all these if every investor in the United States put just 2% of their money in crypto, it's a new game. It's a new ball game. And so that's why I'm really pulling for these regulations. And so I don't know if you guys can see it all in the chat, but I put it in there. These are the things that they're looking to conquer with the regulation. And if I was to abbreviate what it all says, it's basically bringing peace of mind to the investors.
Yeah, nothing wrong with peace of mind. I'm just curious where and how it's going to work. But I guess we'll see. Because with some of this stuff that, especially the DeFi space has been able to innovate and move forward, at incredible speeds. But obviously it's opened up things to fraud and that kind of stuff too. But yeah, we will
I could
see.
add a little color to what Steve said. I think, there are different kinds of risk. There's counterparty risk, which is who's the custodian of your funds, whether it's, a broker or DeFi or something else. And then there's market risk, which is the price going up and down. So I think the regulation probably addresses the counterparty risk more. So you have legitimate custodians who, I don't know if they have a fiduciary duty to you, but at least they're following the rules and they're actually, holding your asset properly. But then for market risk, I think part of the education has to be that everything is a risk asset. So you can hold a stock, it can go bankrupt, you can lose all or most of everything you had. Markets fluctuate, and so does crypto. So rather than saying it's safe, I would just say it's another risk asset in your portfolio, and it's more of a diversifier than anything else. So that's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that, as far as, yeah, who's holding your coin. So if we think of it like, Coinbase or Kraken, they're the ones that are regulated. So Steve, like your brother and sister-in-law, if they open a Coinbase or a Kraken account, they can feel, quote unquote safe type of thing. Just
Yeah,
like if you bought IBM through a Schwab or a Fidelity brokerage account. But if I wanted to buy IBM stock from Michael, Michael's not regulated. And so maybe things go wrong because he's selling me, a fake version of IBM stock or whatever. And that would be equivalent kind of to this DeFi stuff that we're we've been used to for a couple of years.
You
So
know, one of the things that the ETFs do is they eliminate a lot of these issues that people are worried about. Now, let's not talk about the price of it going up and down. That's a different issue. But if you buy the ETFs, I own the ETFs as well. I did almost from the very first day, and I bought all BlackRock because BlackRock manages somewhere around $30 trillion. They're the biggest fish in the sea. So in terms of am I going to get scammed? There's really no way that I'm going to get scammed with BlackRock. So I know that that's a safe place for me to go. So uh, whatever regulations are really to keep the common folks like Steve's brother or sister-in-law to understand that this is a safe investment, a safe long-term investment. I had one of the guys at my church, probably 73 or 4, talking to me about this, and I was explaining to him, the ups and downs of it. I go, but just look at the chart. It started here and it's up here. And you have zigzag all along the way. Look at the stock market. You see the exact same thing. 2009, 1986. You had the October crash, 22% in one day. Actually, if you look at the Friday prior to that, and it was like more than 30% in 2 days. So the idea that there's not safety in this, the ETFs have kind of blown that out of the water. Now, to Phil's point about the market direction and what it's going to do, yeah, it's a very volatile stock, a very volatile asset. But look at one of the biggest companies in the world, Nvidia, this week made a new all-time high, and yet it closed the week down 10%. Okay, in the same week. So Bitcoin does the same thing, and nobody freaks out about Nvidia. They're going to have a couple $100 billion in sales this year. Now, granted, Bitcoin doesn't have anything like that, but the point is that I think it's incumbent upon people like us to explain to the people in our world, that what this is like. This is unlike any other animal that's ever existed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Bitcoin is up something like 13 million% since its beginning. I don't know. I've read that. Is that right?
I don't know
But
the number, but it's crazy.
but let's just say it's up 1 million%. Okay, it's 1 million% in 15 years. Hello, can you even come up with anything that's up, say, 10,000%? Maybe Nvidia or Amazon or something. But anyhow, I think the regulations are really more of a thing to keep people calm about the asset as opposed to really necessity um, in the investment side.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, Michael. Welcome, Naheem. Glad to have you on. Susan, let's and feel free to jump in here, but Susan, let me have you share your thoughts because I'm guessing you haven't opened that Coinbase account yet, but it sounds like you've been investing long enough. And what are your thoughts on this regulation? Is that a big deal for you or something you're waiting on?
Well, I'm all for less regulation, but once he posted the sorts of things they're looking at, I that just seemed kind of healthy to me, like just kind of no-brainer for the crooks. But I guess what really irks me is the whole IRS taxing. So if we really get this Doge and we don't have to like micromanage our tax forms and keep track of all this stuff. I know you guys have spreadsheets, but it's just so annoying. And I'm just hoping we go to a flat tax and um and minimal regulation.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm with you on most of that. Yeah, especially the regulation. So are you just would you, 6 months from now, if we do have some of this regulation in place, would you feel more comfortable with jumping in to crypto?
The regulation isn't what's blocking me.
Okay.
It's more the tracking.
Ah,
I'm kind of a minimalist, so keeping track of my wallet number just seems overwhelming.
okay. So you need a little more hand holding, it sounds like, because I know you can do it, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think at the next pizza get together, most of us would chip in like $10 each to, help you open that Coinbase
Well,
account.
I have plenty. I've got plenty in, and it's in an IRA, and so I've learned that that doesn't seem to be a problem, and also that would negate my tax fears.
Right. Well, with the
Um,
IRA, then definitely you should be doing something with one of these Bitcoin ETFs, like Michael talked about. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to treat it just like a stock or any other mutual fund or ETF.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
at least you have some exposure. I mean, that's what I've been telling people for a year.
and then I don't have to keep track of the wallet.
Exactly. Just you have,
Yeah,
you have to have some, you don't have to, but I think
right.
everybody should have some exposure to Bitcoin. Even, I mean, Steve's crazy number of 2%. I'm like, I'm just pushing for 1%. I know Steve's a little wild, at 2%, but
Uh-huh.
I'm
Well, I'll figure out what 1% would be of my what I've got. And I do have a Roth that's more my play money.
okay.
Um, so
Start playing.
so
Start
yeah,
playing.
right. Okay, okay.
Hey, I'd like to share my Roth IRA story, and maybe it would encourage Susan. And I got some of my tips from Michael at our me and Ed's meetup. So I don't know if you guys remember, but you can start a self-directed Roth IRA, and you can, at my age, in my age bracket, I can put in $8,000 a year. Now I can't touch that money for 5 years. Okay. So, hey, there he is. And so, Susan, what I did, and this was just last week, I did it on the last day of 2024. I put in my 8,000 in a self-directed Roth, and I split it up between IBIT, which is the ETF that Michael's talking about, run by BlackRock. I put it in IBIT, NVIDIA, and MicroStrategy. So that's not a lot in any one thing, but I put it in those three. And so, Brad, that does give me exposure to Bitcoin, right?
Absolutely.
MicroStrategy and IBIT are directly Bitcoin related. And so when the first couple of days of the year, I saw them boom, and then I've seen them settle back down, and that's okay. But that gives me exposure to a platform where, Susan, you don't have to have a wallet. You don't have to, you can go through JP Morgan, you can go through any of the big trading security exchanges. You don't have to have a wallet and all these passcodes and secret things, but it does give you exposure to Bitcoin. And so that's a simple way to do it. It's 8 grand. And then now I can put in another 8 grand here in 2025. I'm going to do that. So MicroStrategy gives you direct access to kind of invest in Bitcoin if you believe in it. And so, and then NVIDIA for all intents and purposes is almost direct, in my opinion, it's almost directly connected to cryptocurrency through artificial intelligence, all the things they're doing there. And so I
Yeah,
thought that was a strong play as well. So, and that's
yeah.
just $8,000, not a big deal, but, and I can't touch it for 5 years, but I'm just gonna every year add to it and let those, let those rates of exchange boost that, uh, account for me.
MicroStrategy is a little crazy for me. I'm not averse to risk, but that seems I don't know. But I could do that.
Yeah. And maybe you reallocate once or twice a year, between whatever you're holding, and, you know, leave out a little bit, 500, $1,000, and buy the IBIT, type of thing, or,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, but at least get some exposure, like Steve was saying.
And
Yeah.
Susan, the thing about the ETFs, like I posted the IBIT, that's the one that I own. It's just like a stock. So if you bought IBM or Nvidia or whatever in a regular account, a taxable account, it's the same accounting. It's easy. I bought it at 1,000, I sold it at 1,500, I netted 500. That's what I pay taxes on. That's it. It's as simple. It's done. So if it's in your 401k, which all of my ETFs are in my 401ks, whether it's a regular 401k or a Roth IRA. And it's very, very easy to figure out. And it makes it very easy to do it. Buy yourself 10 shares of it. It's about $54 a share right now, $500. And then you're in the game. Or,
Yeah.
buy yourself 100 shares,
Okay.
$500 or whatever.
I'll do that next week.
All
I
right.
will. That's my goal.
excellent.
All right. We will celebrate.
Am I
me and
hearing
Ed's.
that right? If she says
Well-
she's going to do it next week, wow.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
This is not financial advice. This is just some crazy
get it.
guy over to the east that, that's all.
Yeah. I get it.
Good for you, Susan.
Yeah,
Good for you. Great job. Awesome.
that's good. That's good. Hey,
Uh,
Lino,
hey,
how,
but-
how are you doing? Go
Sorry,
jump in.
Mike messaged me. I was so busy with doing something, I totally forgot about the meeting. So I'm glad that. Oh, sorry, Steve. Steve, who texted me? Steve? Oh, Steve Rendell. Yeah, he texted me. Thanks, man. I'm like, oh, the meeting. So my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Good to have you. And Naheem, did you want to jump in? Anything you wanted to add or had questions on?
what-
Oop, I think he got muted again.
Yeah, sorry. I Let me see if I can on my video. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I'm Naheem. I'm a newbie to Bitcoin. I just decided to look around and see if I can join and get some information and see how I can explore opportunities. I was just reading Satoshi Nakamoto white paper on Bitcoin, so I don't really know much about
Okay.
this.
I think, did you join us once before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay. Okay. Well, welcome. Where are you checking in from?
I'm from Redlands.
Okay.
California.
Great. Yeah, that's where most of us seem to be. We're kind of around Fresno, but all good. Good to have you with. Is there any questions we can answer? Like any specific, like maybe a roadblock we can help you get around or jump over?
I'm still doing some research on Bitcoin, and I think maybe I don't know how often do you meet? Is it every weekend?
Just once a month here on Zoom, and then we meet once a month in person here in Fresno, Clovis area. So, you're welcome there. I know it might be a little harder to get to, but once a month each way as far as the meeting there.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah,
And
maybe
then
next I'll have some questions.
I don't know if hopefully you saw it. There's a link to let me show you this Google Doc. With every meeting, we have a Google Doc to put links in as we share them. So then this is something anybody can go back to later and, hey, what were they talking about? And see these. And these links, the link to the Google Doc is right here in the, in the meeting description type of thing. So if you click over there, you'll see this type of deal. And then at the top here, there's a link to our Facebook group. You can get on a mailing list, all that kind of good stuff. So just so you kind of know what's going on there. Good. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, Lino, and those that you joined us a little bit after 10. Our guest couldn't join us. He's helping his sister whose house burned down in LA and is helping his brother evacuate. So hopefully we're going to have him back in the near future. The other thing I was looking to add to kind of all of our meetings, our Zoom meetings anyway, is a little portion at the end just to bring up and share and talk about any new coins that we ran across or that kind of thing. So we can kind of jump into that kind of topic if you guys want. For our regular meetings, I don't want to make it, an hour long kind of thing, but just, maybe 15 minutes. Hey, I saw this week, and, help each other out with anything new, and then maybe kind of continue the conversation here on our Facebook group. That we can obviously jump in and out of 24/7. So anything, I know Gabe and Lino are probably the most into the newer coins. Anything good you guys have run across?
No, what I've done is kind of step back, and the reason for that is because due to the regulation. Because like I said, once he kicks in, I just got to make sure what crypto is going to be accepted in the framework of the regulation. Because, like you mentioned, there's 2.5 million crypto, and if they don't comply with the SEC, you're out. And I don't want to be holding X amount of dollars and not being worth anything. So
yeah, at least in the US.
Yeah, I
but
would say
yeah,
it's worldwide, so yeah, that's only U.S.
yeah, in the US, correct. The only cryptos that have been accepted as a pass are the cryptos ISO 2021 22. I'm sorry.
yeah, and we talked
And they're
about
set up.
those last month or the month before. Yeah. No, last month, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, those are interesting. So are you getting into those then, Gabe? You think those are safe enough to jump into now, or you're still going to wait
Oh,
on the?
yes, those are very safe,
Okay.
very safe, 100%. So those are ready to go. But anything outside of that, who knows? Like, for example, what happened to Tether? We're just discussing about, right? I thought it was going to be here for a long duration, and they're going under.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're still on Coinbase. Unfortunately, only on Ethereum, but they're still at least there. I'll check Kraken here
did I
too.
miss something? That we said Tether's going out of business.
Well, they're not going to go out of business. They're not being accepted by majority of the crypto exchanges, because I know over in Europe they've been banned. In United Kingdom, you can't use Tether. So here in the United States, they're phasing out Tether.
Yeah.
Certain crypto exchanges, yeah.
Have you seen any that have dropped them yet? Maybe Steve, you could do a little Googling on that on Tether USDT to see if any crypto exchanges are dropping them. I don't doubt it. Yeah. And then hopefully we'll see the RL USDT come up and maybe take their place. And that one's based on that's on the XRP chain, which is, going to have super low fees and still be fast. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I always like USDC. I kind of always stood away from Tether.
Oh yeah. No, I was talking about the new one, the Ripple Labs. It's called
Yeah,
RL USD. Let me see what CoinMarketCap is talking about. I didn't. No, not much market cap. It's almost 3,000. Um, so it'll take a while to get adopted, but at least it finally launched. And I know what about BUSD, the one that was on, Binance? It seemed like they ran into problems. Are they still around? Because I'd use them, in the DeFi space here and there.
yeah, I get to use some of those. Like Tether I had to use when I had to do some. I can't remember what it was for, but some places didn't take USDC, so I used Tether. But I go in and out of that.
Yeah, it looks like BUSD is really going down. I mean, they're down. Yeah. Okay. Just as far as the market cap. We go back to the R. Yeah. Steve, did you run across anything?
I'm looking right now, Tether News. So it's just dropped in value a lot, but I don't see, and it looks like it's going to be investigated by the federal government for anti-laundering. But I'm trying to look and see if people are dropping them, and I don't see that yet. But the price has gone down and it looks like they're going to be investigated. So I don't know how bad they are, if they're rotten at the core or not, or just need to fix a little thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the founders are rotten to the core, but try to
Yeah, what
refrain.
that'll be our next Black Swan event. That will really push crypto down if that thing explodes.
They're so entrenched. Yeah, that would be nuts. Um, yeah. Now, I don't know if you saw on the side of my screen here, they're talking about the XRP ETF. So, is 2025 going to be the year of the race to additional ETFs? We've already heard Solana. I mean, in my mind, Solana and XRP are kind of a done deal. We just have to wait for them to come out.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially if XRP is pushing their stable coin for the federal government to investigate Tether. That would make sense behind the scenes. Get rid of them, replace them with this. That makes sense. You know,
Right. Especially since they're so entrenched with the banks as it is, Ripple and XRP.
yeah, but let's not. I mean, the banks are not going to use XRP. Everyone says it, but I'm still saying that technology is old. There's going to be something else they'll use, but I still believe they'll use it.
You
Yeah.
said the banks are not using XRP?
I don't believe the American banks will not use XRP. That's what I said.
No, they are using XRP. All the banks
I,
in the world are using XRP.
yeah, I still haven't seen proof. Yeah, of an article or something I could read that's real. I don't see it.
I mean, they're in the crypto space. I believe they're the most tied to the banking system in the financial industry, but maybe
That
not
is true.
specifically with XRP, the coin. They're doing, they do other things, and that's kind of a new, different concept for us because we're used to seeing, okay, Ethereum, they've got smart contracts and they do all this stuff, but there's XRP, Ripple Labs, and there's a lot more going on there than just the coin. Okay. Any other new coins you guys ran across? Lino, you got anything new or?
No, nothing new. Just some of the a lot of altcoins that I've carried quite a few of them. On this last little spike up, everything that I was in positive, I liquidated all those. So I'm holding a lot of USDC, waiting for the next bigger dip, and then so I could buy back in some other stuff that I have more confidence in, like we talked about right now, the ISO tokens, the blue chip stuff. So that's where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah. What do you
But I
think
did buy a
is?
bunch of.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. What do you think? What?
What do you think is going to be the next driver for the next leg up for Bitcoin here? We come back from 104, 105s, whatever we were at.
The next leg down, it would be this tether stuff, not the leg up. I mean, we still got probably some downside to go. That's the case.
Okay. Well, it's also going to depend how long that an investigation takes. I mean, that could be a year or two process.
Just
I mean,
just the announcement of an investigation will drive it down. You don't need it to actually happen.
true. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. So that's good news if you want to add some more to your bags at a lower price point. That's good for you. Just got to take advantage of that.
Right. I'm just, there's been so much talk with, once Trump comes in and this, or is that all baked into the market already?
That's going to be now. It's baked in a way where what is actually going to happen after he comes in? Will he do some of the things he said or not? So that's going to move that needle. So
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of sit and wait.
And what do you think if he does quote unquote, does one of those things? What are one of those things?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's lining up already, right? He's got a lot of pro crypto people into his cabinet, so it's going to happen.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, most of the thing we're seeing is just the people are pro crypto. It's not like specific legislation or ideas or that kind of
Not
stuff.
yet.
So,
But
okay.
if administration lining the people up with pro crypto people, yeah, it's good. I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Good. How's the Solana yield farming That's still
Yield
chugging along?
still going, still going. I was just looking at it the other day. I'm going to do something a little bit. I'm going to leverage some stuff a little bit different. What I mean by that, I'm going to loan out some of my Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'm going to loan it out, so then I'm going to borrow against it, and then I'm going to yield that. I'm going to borrow some USDC, and I'm going to yield that on some other platform. So I'm working on that now to make sure I do it correctly, because loaning's not the problem, is borrowing. You don't want to get liquidated when you borrow. So I'll make a nice run at that to see how that's going to look.
Right. So if you're loaning $1,000 in Ethereum, for example, you're only going to borrow 500 or 700 type of thing.
Yeah, I'll borrow less, like 400. So
Okay.
the reason why I'm saying to do that is because I won't miss out on the appreciation on the upside if I'm loaning it, because I still own it. I'm just loaning it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I get to capture that, and then that way what I'm borrowing, I'm gonna yield farm that. So I don't have to. If I yield farm my Ethereum or my Bitcoin, I will lose out on the upside of the appreciation if it goes up and when it goes up. So that's gonna help me mitigate that. So I'm working on that next. That's my next little thing.
Okay. Yeah. No, I remember people talking about that in the past, and it sounded, a little complicated, but if you can make it work, you loan it out and you're making, 6% and you're borrowing at 3%, do that all day.
Yeah, even if it's the other way around, even if you're loaning it at 3 and borrowing at 6, because you're going to yield farm it and hopefully get 9 or 12 or 15. That's the key.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey,
Okay.
Lino, when are you going to start doing something that's actually complicated?
I'm not sure yet. I already made a couple of tokens.
I think you're already there, my friend.
Yeah, no, I wish I was a programmer. Let me tell you, I'll be in big trouble.
Yes.
Good deal. Good deal. Okay. All right. Anything else you guys want to bring up? Suggestions for next month's topic? Talked about
Hey,
we'll
Brad.
do taxes in March. Go ahead.
So I was doing some more research while Lino was talking, and the conversation about XRP. So I just posted 2 articles in the chat, and one of them quotes the CEO of Bank of America, says that they're using XRP for all internal transitions, and the CEO of Chase Bank says that they're using XRP. So
Are you talking about Ripple? Because I don't see them using something that's volatile. That don't make sense.
Yeah,
If they're doing it quickly, though, if it's just like, sending $500 to your, your parents in Mexico or whatever, and the transaction only takes 5 minutes, it's not going to be that volatile for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I mean, I can understand Ripple using Ripple's technology, but XRP itself, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Here's a quote inside the second article. Leading international banking company JP Morgan Chase has formally announced that it will now take XRP as payment for credit card and mortgage transactions. So it's not everything, but now I
It's a
don't
start.
know. Yeah, right. So I mean, it would be really interesting for XRP's price and value if American banks really start converting, I think.
Right. And the value of any currency goes up the more people that use it. So,
Yeah.
if we've got, 100,000 people in the US using XRP on a daily basis, and that goes to 1 million with Bank of America's customers paying off their credit cards or mortgage payments, and that's a step in the right direction.
The great news about XRP is they have a huge army, big community.
Yeah.
Real big. Yeah. And they really believe it. You don't argue with them, they get you.
Yeah. And if one of them doesn't, 3 other will.
Yeah, exactly.
Lino, Brad, anybody can explain to me what is the relationship with XRP and Ripple? So both these articles say, the first one talks about Bank of America and it talks about Ripple a lot, but it mentions XRP. The second one talks about XRP directly. That's Chase Bank. So what is that relationship? What do I need to know about XRP/Ripple?
I'll take a stab since Lino's muted, but jump in anytime, Lino. So from my understanding, Ripple Labs is a company and they do a number of things. And one of those was launching the XRP token, but they still do other things um, in the financial industry. So it's an interesting example where, like Bitcoin, if somebody wanted to come after Bitcoin to shut it down or fine them, it's like, where's the office? Who's the CEO? Who are on the board of directors? There is none, except the miners. But with XRP, you've got Ripple Labs that we know is behind it. So I'm trying to think of an
Yeah,
analogy.
yeah. So like I don't think they use Swiss anymore. They change it to something else. But it's like the Swiss, right? Swiss banking system where that's when you do your wire transfers. That'd be like Ripple, that the software technology. They're not going to send XRP. I'm not going to send $100,000 of XRP to do a wire transfer. I'm going to send $100,000 of Ripple soft technology to do it because it doesn't change the price. That's my point. Now that I can see happening.
Well, they would have to have a like. So you're saying they have a different
Well,
token?
the Swiss doesn't have a token, right? They're just the settler of the transaction. That's my point.
Yeah,
Swiss doesn't have a
Swift. Yeah, Swift is
okay?
just a communication protocol.
Exactly.
Is
Same thing
all it
with
is.
XRP. That's a good way to say it. I'm gonna cut out right now, but Ripple would be the protocol, and XRP will be just their native token. Basically, that's the easiest way I can say it. I don't know if you got that.
Yeah. This is one of those things that probably
It's their
doesn't really
settlement.
matter.
It's like settlement.
Yeah, we're trying to get under the hood and what kind of spark plugs are in there. We got to take
Yep.
the spark
Yep.
plugs out to see what brand they are, kind of thing. But
Yes. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, but we know the way they're doing things is better than the Swift system
Yeah, and
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 going
I think
forward and everything. Yeah.
yeah, and I think a lot of the banks got away from that system to something else. I can't remember the name of it. But if you look it up, they don't use a Swiss no more. They use some
Well,
other settlement system.
there's been this thing, and to me, it's still kind of rumored, but they refer to it as the quantum financial system or the QFS.
Okay,
And my understanding is some of those ISO tokens are part of that. Um, and I've heard that they've been working on this quantum financial system, and it's blockchain based and it's able to do, send $10 million from, LA to London to Sydney and back, all in 3 minutes type of thing. And they've been
absolutely.
supposedly like mirroring, the current financial system, or at least some banks or something, just to like test it. Because obviously you can't just like switch over to a new system overnight and expect everything to work perfect. But it seems like the last couple of years, I've seen some transactions take place. I, I, I mean, well, I use Wells Fargo and Chase and sometimes Bank of America. But things take place way quicker than they had in the past, like within 2 hours instead of 2 days or something. So I'm like, maybe this is kind of what they're talking about, but I don't have anything hard articles like you've referred to prove it or that kind of thing. But it seems like that's going on, and those ISO tokens are part of that.
Yeah, one's like technology, one's a token. Someone posted that. That's good information. But yeah, it's still like we can't send wires like we're doing it. We do wires all the time. After 2 p.m., it won't go until the next day. I mean, it's an archaic system. It's like they need this new system for sure. It's horrible.
Yeah, and compared to everything else we do, and you
It's
can't.
horrible.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
yeah,
So hopefully that FXRP and that company that they do it, that's going to be so much better for all of us. We could do instant transactions instead of waiting. The guy wants to pick up his equipment, but we're waiting for the wire. We're waiting for the wire. We're waiting for the wire. It's like, oh my God.
yeah, and the expense to do it too. Where if it
Yep.
takes, it costs 25 cents for that transaction instead of $25 or whatever the banks charge these days, kind of thing. So okay, good. I don't see anything else in chat. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, thanks, Steve. I'm gonna drop this into
Yeah,
the
that's
Google
just
Doc too.
That was a real simple AI generated explanation. I just typed in
Nice.
what is the relationship between XRP and Ripple? And I think this is pretty simple and straightforward. It really helped me.
Yeah, so the XRP acts as a bridge currency. So, when they send that $500,000 from here to Miami or whatever, they're sending XRP tokens, but it gets there in, you know, 60 seconds and the value hasn't changed enough to warrant.
Yeah, through the Ripple network.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So fascinating. Okay, good. Yeah, thanks for the assist there, Steve. That's a great little explanation. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else, any ideas, thoughts on the topic? I know sometimes with this, it's like, what's happened in the last week or two type of thing. Let's see. Let's go
Are we
back.
making any predictions for the year on
Oh,
Bitcoin?
that might be interesting. Yes, in beginning and end of the year. Um, yeah, maybe put your predictions in the chat and I'll copy them over to
And
the Google
why
Doc.
possibly? And why possibly,
Oh, and
Hey,
why?
I feel a wager of $1 happening here.
I'm in for $1.
Or maybe one XRP token.
Depends how much it's worth.
Well,
Depends how much it's
do
worth.
you truly believe?
Yeah, so it's funny you say so. A little side note. So, my friend's mother, who's retired, reached out to me during Christmas so I could help her give her grandkids Bitcoin for Christmas,
Cool.
which I thought it was very interesting. So, which I helped her do. So she was happy about that. That's interesting to see that, though, to see that happen. And she has no idea about it. All she knows, I want to give my grandkids Bitcoin for Christmas. So, very interesting. It's a good sign.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And can she adopt me?
Right? And I made a really, really, Michael, I made a really nice XRP wallet,
Nice.
paper wallet. Bring it to the next meeting. It's super
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I
I'll
still
bring it to
want
the
to
next
learn
meeting.
that from you, boss,
Yeah,
because
those
I
are
want to
super
do
cool.
that for others. But I had a friend of mine from church. I think I mentioned earlier. He's in his early 70s. He actually he and his wife actually bought about $8,000 or $10,000 in Bitcoin for their grandkids for when they pass, and hopefully something they won't get for another 10 or 20 years or whatever the case is. And he and I had talked about it. So I'm getting different people that I know that are wanting to do something like that. And I tell them, this is how you do it. You either go to Coinbase or you go buy the IBIT ETF and you're good to go. You just leave it alone and understand it's very volatile. One day it'll be at 10,000. I go, the thing you have to remember is that when it gets up into the 200, $300,000 range, we could have 20, 30, $40,000 days down and up. So you just have to understand it's just a percentage.
Yeah,
10% at 100 grand is 10,000. 10% at 400,000 is $40,000 in a day. And that's if you can weather that, then do it.
it's definitely interesting when I see that happen. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's
What's
Nick.
happened,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
what's happened in the last week toned down some of your positive views of what's going to happen to Bitcoin in 2025. I guess we'll see that when people enter their valuations, but it seems like 2 weeks ago, or definitely when we met for pizza, it just looked like a strong bull. The bulls were in total control, and now it looks like the bears have entered the picture a little bit. Do you guys think it's just a kind of a beginning of the year cleaning of the slate, getting ready for what's coming in 2025, or do you consider it more of a setback than you anticipated?
I just take it as part of the ups and downs.
Yeah, for the timing, yeah, it's I think it's supposed to happen this way. So yeah, yeah, it's it's getting reset, I think, more than a negative. I think it's the way it is. It's the way it's gonna happen. So but this tether thing's got me going. If this is real, which I'm gonna go research right now because I haven't, that's a big deal. We're gonna see a pretty big hit if that's true.
Okay, Brad and
Yeah.
Michael have put in their targets. I'd like to hear from Lino, Phil, Susan.
Uh, I'm on my phone. Hold on. How do I get to the chat? Oh,
That
I
might
see
be
it. Oh, I
tough.
see it now. Okay, I see it. I see it. I see it.
Yeah. And
Oh,
Naheem, is there any topics you'd like us to maybe cover next month? Any, kind of just a, not one specific token necessarily, but any topic. We've kind of been talking about more advanced things. I want to bring it back. Maybe there's some basic stuff we could help you with and
oh,
help
I
other
see.
people with too.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah, yeah.
thanks so much. I think it would be helpful for now if anyone can suggest some resources for me to get started with to learn about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin particularly, so that I can start exploring. Then by next month, then I would really have more knowledge to talk about things.
Okay. Yeah, I
There's
mean,
so many.
yeah. Go ahead, Lino.
No, no, I'm sorry. There's so many. Whiteboard crypto is a real nice one because I like its visual. That's a good one. Also, if you don't have, you should open a Coinbase account. And if anyone's opening new accounts, please use other people's referrals. That's what I used on a
Okay.
couple people, and we both get money, which is awesome. So make sure everyone's doing that. And then on Coinbase, they teach you a lot about crypto. They have a learning section that you actually could earn crypto while you're teaching. So if anyone has Coinbase, there's $80 sitting there that I see for everyone could get if you look and it walks you through the videos and it walks you through learning more about crypto in depth. It's pretty good on for newbies. It's really good. So those are the two things I would do.
Okay. Whiteboard. Okay.
The whiteboard crypto on YouTube. That's a good one.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to share a little something I just figured out. Uh, I was thinking about it when you were mentioning about those the crypto the paper thing. So I went back and looked, and like Lino said, when you sign up for Bitcoin, I don't know if they still do it, but I got $10 in free Bitcoin at the time. And for the first time, I actually sat down and figured out that $10 in Bitcoin that I got in 2017 is now worth $335.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Is
Yeah,
that crazy?
they give you free crypto still on those on there. So
Yeah, yeah, I didn't realize that. That's a pretty good return.
Yeah, 100% return. Yeah, Naheem, I also put Coin Market Cap, which is this site, which is basically a list of all the cryptocurrencies. And so if you hear about one, you can go here to find out more. So like we were talking about XRP, so you can click on that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. I wish, hold on a second here. Yeah, so let me back up here. Is it, man, my thing is slow. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so we got Coin Market Cap here, and then you click on XRP, and it has the graph that everybody likes to see because that's always fun, especially if we look back at a year. Oh no, that was a month. A year's better. There we go. But you can click on the markets up here, news about the coin. So if you want to, find out here who are the founders, blah, 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 all this kind of good stuff. So that, and then I'm sure when you go to the whiteboard crypto, you'll get suggestions of other crypto videos and channels. But that's a good place to start. Thanks for that, Lino. All right.
Naheem,
Any other predictions? Okay, good. I'm gonna copy these down here, and we'll see who wins the XRP coin.
Naheem, I have one for you. It's a real easy one. And it's really helped me. It's just rookie level material, but on Cointelegraph, which kind of is puts out news articles on crypto. They have 5 days a week, they have a podcast called Rise with Crypto. It's about a 7-minute podcast every morning, every weekday morning. It's called Rise with Crypto. It's about 7 minutes long. It just does a recap of the day before, and it is on Cointelegraph. So if you go on cointelegraph.com, you'll see they have a lot of articles about crypto, and then you'll see they have podcasts, and they have actually other podcasts, but the one that I found enjoyable is called Rise with Crypto.
Thanks so much for that. I will check the resources. Thanks.
All right, Phil, any prediction from you? I can just type it in here too if you can't get the chat.
No, I don't have a good crystal ball. I'm sorry. I hate to disappoint everybody.
All right, well, when you get the crystal ball, definitely share that with us then.
Okay.
Good deal. Good deal. Okay. I think we'll wrap it up there. Hope to see you guys. I think it's the 26th, so 2 weeks from tomorrow at me and Ed's, and we'll have some more meetings on Zoom the next couple months and go from there. And go BTC, go XRP, right?
Yeah, and Brad, if you know, sorry about the developers' tragedy in Southern California, but if they're available to come to a future meeting, I'm still very interested in that topic.
Oh, no, absolutely. I will definitely get him back. He's not going to use his real name because just he wants to kind of maintain some privacy and that kind of thing. But he used to work for me back in the day when he was in high school, and so it's somebody I know, and it's not somebody that fell out of a bus and I ran into him at the 7-Eleven kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, we just chat once in a while, usually on Facebook, and it's like, oh my gosh, come and share some of the stuff what you're doing. So
Yeah, what is he? A developer? Or what is he? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, he launched a couple coins, and
Mhm.
he was originally going to come on a couple years ago with just talking about that. But since then, he got into trading, and then in that realm started doing some development. So I don't know all the things, but that's kind of, yeah, and he's done really well. So I'm sure
Interesting.
there's something and multiple things we can glean from him. So I will definitely work on getting him back to, if February works, that would be, I'll shoot for that. If not, we'll have another topic. And yeah, I mean, I might even do an extra meeting if we can get him, but he said he was available, on a regular time, but if it's something we have to do at a different time to get him on, I'll do that. So yeah, good deal. All right. Steve, any final thoughts?
No, look, I could almost do this every Saturday. I'm so interested, but I appreciate everything you do, Brad, to lead the group.
No problem. Well, we've got the Facebook group there. Let me post this. There's not a lot of activity there, but if there's a place, to discuss in between meetings, that would probably be the best place to do it. I've invited some of you to my Telegram group. And then we have one for our group, but there's not much action there. I think Facebook would probably be the best place to talk in between meetings, but we'll go from there. All right, guys, have a good rest of your weekend, and we will see you here in 2 weeks or next month. Take care.
Thank you, my
Thanks.
friend. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
Good luck and happy Bitcoining.